All right. What's up and welcome. I got my boy Ham here. We have a crap ton of SPL to talk about. We had a condensed week 3 and 4 schedule. I think we had 16 games within the span of four days. So we have
Yeah,
a lot to go over. Hamilton, how are you feeling after week 4?
I'm feeling on top of the world, um, but we'll get there. I think we'll start with week three in my mind, and then
Yeah.
we'll get to week four and why I'm feeling on top of the world.
Yeah, I mean it's
But
it's 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 plain and obvious why you're feeling on top of the world if we look at the results here. So we got there's so many games to go over, and frankly, my memory of week 3 has been overridden by week 4. So we're gonna kind of speed run through a lot of these, especially the less memorable games. But first game was for week 3 was David versus Shell, which is Princess and the Toads versus NTNJV. Um, and it was a completely unmemorable tie. It was the Mario Brothers grudge match, and I don't know if there was a single big goal, meaning one of the Mario Brothers using their power up, and I think it just kind of ended up in a tie where each person won their own map pick.
yeah, I don't even think there was a big person in that game, if I remember correctly.
Surely there had to be one, but you honestly might be right. I know at least one game I think went silent, but I feel like there was maybe you're right. Either way, not a very memorable series. Next series actually was very memorable. I am sorry, Garrett, but we saw the manifestation of everything that Triple Hammer Bros and Diddy could be happened this week. Adam absolutely pounded. It was like 6 or 7 goals a game. I don't know about you, but did you ever think that you were going to see this out of Adam's team?
No, even if I did, I really thought it would be against him just because his team has no defense.
Right.
Um, I like shooters shooting if they got hot. And that's simply what it came down to. I felt like every time they shot the ball went in.
Yeah, which like when Adam's team theoretically, when the Hammer Bros and Diddy, they all have high passing statistics, so the ball has high charge at all times, and anytime it goes to the, I was gonna say the foot, but the hammer of the bro, like it was terrifying. And you're right, we don't track shooting percentage because that would frankly be impossible, but I feel like it was like 90%.
Yeah, and
Um,
from distance too. I think he had two goals from midfield.
yeah, Garrett was understandably fuming after that game and asking many questions of his own Hammer Bro as to why can't he perform like that. And I think we're all asking our a lot of us have Hammer Bros, and I think we're all asking those questions right now. Game 3 was Garrett versus Ham. That's Flower Power FC versus Don Keys Nuts. Do you remember anything about this?
I remember being frustrated because I felt like Garrett's team was not doing well, and then we ended up tying. And I want to say he beat me pretty bad, and then I snuck out a win. Like I felt like his team was play outplayed me. Like if we did
Hmm.
a traditional Champions League format, he's moving on, not a tie. Um,
I actually now am recalling some details. This was actually this was the series of the week. Um, I think Garrett won game 1 with
yeah,
an overtime dry bones sweet spot bar down. Um,
that sounds accurate.
and then game 2, you were up like 4-1 with like 30 seconds left, and Daisy pulled off 3 goals on a mega strike of just 4 in the red. Absolute scenes. Tied it up 4-4, and then your dry bones scored a teleport goal with 2 seconds left.
That sounds like something that might have happened. I'm maybe that's why I didn't remember a lot of that series.
Which just goes to show like that genuinely was the series of the week, one of the best series of the entire season, and it has been completely overwritten by week 4, which is really sad. So can go ahead and move on to the next game, which was Ham versus Danny, and I believe this was your first win of the season.
I believe so. I think that's right. I think honestly, I think that Did I have a tie previously? I was. This might be my first week with points. I
That
don't think
was
that's true.
that was correct. You have gone on a meteoric rise up the table in the past 6 days.
Yeah, been a good week.
Yeah, but don't remember too much specifics from that. I think that was the first time we ever saw the Sand Tomb, which Danny seems to have made his home map,
Yep.
which is really fun. I had no idea just how many gimmicks are there on that map. There's thwomps falling down, there's wind, and every time you see a slow character trying to run in the sand, it's absolutely hilarious. I think that game had one moment where Monty and DK were in a foot race to get to the ball, and it literally took like 10 seconds for them to travel like a quarter of the field.
Yep. I remember that part. It was definitely funny. Tough to see though when you're playing.
Yeah. Next game, we'll have to when we go back later to review our predictions. This one will be interesting because um, going into week 3, I think our stocks were still quite high on Eric, and he has gone on quite the fall from grace. Not getting, Grant's team is obviously really, really good, but not getting any points here, I think, was pretty shocking. And there's trouble brewing in the Bowser camp.
So getting thrown off because I'm seeing that Eric has 3 ties, and I was working with Danny in the table last night, and I definitely have him with 2 ties. So I know something is wrong somewhere, and that's concerning to me. But um,
A problem for later. Uh,
yes.
but as you alluded to there, his next game was against one of our tie masters. We have 3 teams that have tied every single game. Freddie has tied 5 games. So if he ties one more, he will have tied over half of his games for the entire season. And that pretty much sums up both his game against Eric and his game against me. Um, cool thing about that was Freddie has started taking people to the wasteland. Just like Danny being the sole Sand Tomb representative, Freddie is the first and only person to go to the wasteland, which I think is a really, really interesting map. Um, the ground is slick and lightning strikes periodically. And Freddie takes his team of dry bones there, and it looks absolutely terrifying because they just move so fast on the slick surface. And I'm pretty sure they can teleport further.
I didn't think about that.
Yeah, it's dude, it's scary as someone who played him and then has watched like so many games on that map now in the past week because he had the doubleheader.
Yep.
Um, and then last game, I think we had this pegged probably as our game of the week, which didn't necessarily end up being so. It was close games, tight games, but in the end, Colin edged out a win. Jacob only scored 1 goal across the entire series, including a whiff of either 4 in the red or 6 in the red on a mega strike in the last game when he was down by 2, where he needed 1, if not 2, and got 0. So I still have really high hopes for Jacob, but the fact that his team could not put up a better performance against Colin is kind of sad. But Colin also, well, obviously it's on the screen right now. Colin has slowed down, but even in that series against Jacob where he won, he only scored 4 goals across the 2 series. So there is potential that we're seeing him be a little bit less secure. I still think that he's at 13 points right now. I still think that's probably a lock for close to top 4, but he is human.
Throw out an incredibly bold prediction, and it is not at all biased by the most recent performance from Colin.
Mm-hmm.
It's incredibly biased from that, just to clarify.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think he wins another game the rest of the season. I think that the AI will balance out, and it's going to end up not mattering, and Garrett's going to go on a tear, and Colin's going to go winless.
Is he
Bold
gonna
prediction.
tie?
He might get a couple points,
Okay.
but I don't think he's going to win.
Wow. That is a fiery hot take. I'm gonna go ahead and type that in here. Cam, no more wins for Colin. And then what's Garrett gonna do?
Garrett's going to rise in the table. That's all I'm going to say.
Okay.
I don't want to be specific about it. I don't have Colin's futures come to me in clear vision. Um, Garrett, I'm just seeing good things for. I'm not that is definitely not it.
How many wins do you think Garrett will finish the season with? Let's see. He has played a lot of games so far.
What is
So
his current points? I'll give you a point increase. I don't want to
okay,
go wins.
gotcha. He has 3 points in 6 games. So he's played over half of his season, and he has 3 points.
I'm gonna say he finishes with more than 8 points.
I don't know how much further up the table that's gonna make him go, but I respect the first half of this. This is steaming hot. Garrett getting to 8 points is not that hot.
It's
Um,
it's not, but also he's at 3 points through 6 games. So like my statement is like you wouldn't expect him to be. It's like betting on Southampton right now. Pretty stupid idea.
yeah, which I mean I really don't think well, I don't know. Daisy looks absolutely horrible. But let's go into week 4. This most recent week. First game was pretty surprising. Freddie was able to squeak out yet another tie versus Grant.
He's so good at him.
He is so good at them, and I think if Grant had won this game, he really would have been within touching distance of Colin.
Yeah.
So probably gonna want that one back. I think they went to Thunder Island and Wasteland. Both people won on their home maps, but I don't really have too much more to say about it unless you do.
Not really. No.
Um, Next game was a rout. It was a major regression to the norm from Adam after the highs of highs of beating Garrett. Jacob literally this game was never close, never in doubt at any moment. And was nice to see because Jacob's stocks had kind of fallen a little bit, but I still really believe in this Yoshi team.
Off. Tough matchup against Colin.
Mm-hmm.
It's Colin, but good to see that he came back and got a win, especially on a week when we had 2 wins.
Yeah,
Like some
including.
thrilling games, but 2 wins and he was one of them. Definitely has got to get him some credit.
Mhm. Yeah, it was if they had played in the first game, we would have had a tie sandwich.
Yeah.
Um, Next game was Garrett versus David. I feel like Garrett walked away from this series pretty sad, but I mean, getting a point is still huge. That is not a loss. Um, I do think if David ever was going to not tie anyone, this was probably it. And I do not know if Princess and the Toads will ever win a series. I think they may tie every single game, which jury's out on whether or not that's good enough for playoffs.
3 teams that are trying to tie every single game. That's the bottom 3 in theory. So
Mm-hmm.
if you are above you gotta beat 2 other teams then,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're good. But we'll see who can actually tie the entire season and who can't.
Yeah, right now those 3 teams that have tied every game are in seventh, eighth, and ninth. So realistically, if one of them plans on tying the entire season, it's going to come down to goal difference, which would be crazy. And right now, that would be Princess and the Toads. Actually, that would be odd man out. Um, wow, that is an interesting plot line to go through. Um, but next game, a little bit of bias here, but I think this was probably like the most exciting tie of all time. It
That
was
was,
an
in my
absolute.
mind, game of the week.
You think so?
Absolutely. It's that or the next one. I don't remember exactly which one. I don't care about the lat. There was what 20 goals?
Yeah, over 20, well
Yeah,
over
like
20. I broke.
nonstop action.
I think it broke the record for most goals in a game for both of them.
Yeah.
Um, and it went both ways too. Like it wasn't close in either direction. Both games were like over 7-3. It made absolutely no sense. So I think it was in terms of, brain stimulation that this game was like literally like TikTok incarnate. Um, but the next one, also biased. I think this was the game of the week, especially game one was absolutely crazy. Um, there were three Mega Strike attempts in the last minute. I actually want to go ahead and pull this up and just watch back the end of game one because it was worth watching. Um, how do you feel about Eric's movement from triple boo to the slow progression to triple shy guy?
I couldn't be happier for him that he's excited doing it because I I think the boos were more dangerous. I don't think either are particularly dangerous. But I think that as long as he continues to essentially not use his sidekicks effectively, he will not be a threatening team.
Yeah, that is very true. And like based off like their power level, like we had I think in our all of our power rankings, we've had this as a top 4 team, but they are far down the standings. Like
Yeah,
there is a very very real chance that this team won't even make playoffs. And if Bowser is not in the playoffs, that is going to be the biggest upset I think imaginable. So here we go. So PD throws out, gets 4 in the red. I think the game is 4-2 right
or
now.
two
Yeah.
after the first shy guy skill shot we've ever seen.
Yes. Absolute scenes. So brings it to 4-3. Um, still 30 seconds left. Shy Guys, the Shy Guys didn't look bad, but the thing is, it's just like you're talking about. It's just like so far from optimal. PD puts 4 in the red here again. And that one was just raw, no ultimate or special. Scores 2.
Crazy to do it from the corner in my mind.
Yeah, no, let's go back to how he got there. It's the ball's petering in the corner. He hits Shy Guy and then just rips it. And Bowser is literally pixels away. Bowser's inside of his head when the animation starts. Scores 2, goes up 5-4. Only 15 seconds left.
Build some clock, stun the goalie.
Yeah, good stuff. But then I don't remember how. How does Eric? Oh, he uses his flames.
With,
Rips it off with like
with I
two
think he had
seconds.
2 seconds on the clock when he gets this off.
Yeah, and then he put it in the red. That's 4 in the red.
Yeah,
You'd expect to get at least one.
these especially with Bowser, I would honestly expect like two.
And Critter stops them all. Dude, we've got to start like an academic study on how and why they score the amount of mega strikes that they do. Because right now we have absolutely zero comprehension of it. Um,
Yeah.
we've only I think we've only ever seen 3 once, and that was Daisy with 4 in the red. So, um, but for me, I mean, but both of those were very exciting ties. But for me, that had to be. I think it's a contender for game of the week. I think there's another one as we get further down. It's not this
I
next
think
one. Um, Eric Verschell. Do you remember anything about this?
not a clue. I was gonna say I think you and Danny might be like combined match of the week versus that game for you and Eric would be game of the week if that makes sense.
Yeah, I see. Because I don't remember game two of Eric versus me.
Yeah.
I know that he won. Um, but yeah, nothing other than that. I do not remember anything about Eric Verschell. That's another tie. And Eric is going to need to start winning if he wants to make a comeback. Is he the only person with? He has 2 losses. He's not the only person. Because I think Garrett also has 2 losses at least, if not 3.
So once again, as I alluded to earlier, my table I don't know if it's correct, but according to my table, Eric is currently in sixth.
Interesting. So he has. Eric has 1 win, so that's 3 points.
Yep.
0 for that loss. 0. He has 6 points. Um, which would put him in one, two, three, four, five. He is in six.
Okay.
That is correct.
Now he's got an extra game played
Hmm.
or two, but he does have 6 points and is in sixth. So
The scary thing for him is that so all the boys who have 5 games and one tie, if they get another tie, then they overtake him because his goal difference is much worse. Um,
yes,
but that is the perfect example of this format is so win heavy. Wins are so big. So even though Eric has lost twice just because he has that one win from week one, that is why he is in sixth. Next game was the debut of the Triple Dry Bones, which honestly, after this first series, I was not that high on it, but that also could have been because I think both of these games were on Thunder Island.
that is correct. I was willing to sell the farm after the first series, a little less too after the next one, but I was going to revert back to not triple dry bones. So
Yeah, it didn't look bad. It didn't look great.
no,
I think that you would hope to beat Shell when doing an experiment like that. Like that's, Shell and David are like great litmus tests as to how good your team actually is.
yep,
Um, but that ended up being, completely irrelevant because next game, first team ever to take down Colin, first team ever to really make them look mortal, other than, Grant did pull out a tie. Um, what were you thinking coming out of that game?
I was on top of the world. Colin's text about 30 minutes later saying, "Wait, did I lose?" really made my day. Um, but I mean, dry bones, triple dry bones very clearly seemed to be working. But more importantly, Bowser was fine in the back of the net in that game, in that series. Um, am I happy that it was me that took down Colin? Yes. Am I happier that just someone took down Colin? Definitely. Um, but I his loss here makes it so is Lemon's Adam?
Lemons is Grant.
Dang it. I was gonna say Grant. I was like, no, I'm wrong. Um, makes it so Grant is only 1 game back. I'm 4 points back. Come on, Mr. Monty is 2 games back, but with 2 games in hand,
Hmm.
uh, and only a 5 goal differential back. So just 3 goal wins would be enough to tie him up with um, Colin. It makes him alive. It makes him very much human and able to not be a guaranteed first seed anymore. So
Yeah, and if your prediction's correct, if he really slows down, there is like I said, I think he is safe for playoffs. I think the playoff cutoff is going to be right around like 11 or 12 points, and he's already at 13. So I think he's safe for
yeah,
playoffs. But if he really did choke the rest of the season, he could uh fall all the way, back out of the top four. I'm pretty sure his strength of schedule actually has been absurd. Um, Colin has already played against let's see, he's played against Eric,
right.
he's played against Jacob, and he's played against you.
Also
So
played against
and
Grant,
Grant,
who's
yeah,
got a win.
yeah. So he's played against the rest of the top four.
Who do you
Um,
play week one?
week one he played Garrett,
Okay.
but he's already played Jacob, uh, Eric, and Grant. So the rest of his season is going to be much easier. But
Yep.
I this take right here is immortalized in stone. Um, but I think the really scary thing about this series is when you guys played on Lava Pit, it wasn't even really close. Um, Thunder Island was. This was actually that's it was a banger finish to the series. I can't remember exactly what happened. But like here within the last minute, it was still 1-1. Um, and it really looked like it was going to be anyone's game. I think it went. No, I think DK got a Thunder
First
Wham. I
strike.
think that's the first time we've ever seen a Thunder Wham converted into a Mega Strike, which has got to have you feeling really good.
Yeah, I felt like he was using the Thunder Wham more in this game, and just I feel like we got more Mega Strikes in this game, and then to get two there made me feel really good. Knew I wasn't safe, but I think we get one more a little bit later.
Yeah. Either
Um,
way, you go up by two with not much time left.
Hell
It's
of a save from Critter there.
yeah, and
This 3-1 finish. Okay.
yeah. So finish 3-1. So you won both games by two. So definitive win. I am frankly petrified of the potential Dry Bones revolution that's coming in. Do you want to do a tier list of sidekicks first, or a tier list of the teams?
I think we do teams first.
Okay. I don't
I
know
think it's
about you,
simpler.
but I feel way better about doing this than the last time we did.
Yeah, last time I was like, I know nothing.
Yeah.
Um,
I say we take everyone down because like we didn't really have a tier list here, but I kind of want to restart because
yeah,
um
I'll go with that.
I really don't know. Um, do you want to pick out players to place, or do you want to just go in order?
Um, let's pick them out. But I'm also going to state this is no longer going to be on potential. We've gone through 4 weeks now. That's four opportunities to make roster changes.
Mm-hmm.
At this point, if you haven't made those changes, we're judging you based on who you have.
Yeah.
And I say that mostly because I think I'm putting Bowser in a ceiling of B. Um,
You want to start there?
yeah,
Yeah.
he's the hot button in my mind.
Um, I think hmm, the the
The
tough
Shy
thing
Guys,
is that the standings still, aren't fully crystallized. We have, most teams have played either 5 or 6 games, but we do have two teams that have only played four.
yeah,
Um, Bowser has played six, and he is in sixth place. So I think that that is incredibly fair. And I think you were just about to start talking about his team composition.
I think that the transition away from Boo is something I was hoping he would do. But to go to another triple is like the last thing I wanted him to do. And a triple Shy Guy at that is the worst. And so I think there's a serious world where the Dirty Turtles misses playoffs or the Dirty Turtles gets bounced in the first round of playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so hoping he makes changes because it's more fun when everyone's competitive, but also hoping he doesn't make changes because then he loses more. And that's
Well,
if I don't have if he's worse, then it's easier to beat him.
the thing is,
Selfishly.
like, he's now one shy guy away from
Yeah,
completing the triple shy guy. Um, he still has time to have a fully functioning roster.
yeah.
He still has 3 weeks. He still could like have a very well rounded team if he wants to. I don't think he will. I think he'll try triple shy guy and then maybe end up with some weird boo shy guy split like he has currently. And if he just had a dry bones, two dry bones, a hammer bro, this team would be so much better. But it's you can't help mismanagement.
I'm actually if I was gonna predict something, I would predict that he's gonna get to triple shy guy next week, and I don't think he's gonna move off of it.
Mm. Let's see who he plays because he could get some false. His only game is against Danny. But we'll get into predictions later. Okay.
Yeah,
Bowser and B. Um, let's see who's a good bookmark here. I do feel like Wario still probably has to be an S. Um,
I would agree.
I don't think that's changed. He still probably is also at the top of S. Um,
I'm gonna throw out there that I think he's gonna B and D very quickly to double down on my
yeah, 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 yeah,
prediction.
yeah. That's good. That's good. I think the question will be if he just got rock paper scissored by the dry bones, or if that's a real problem. I still think Wario is easily probably the best captain, or one of the best captains out there. So his team's never going to be bad. Um, right now he has a Toad, Birdo, and Dry Bones. Um, and so I
Bad
do think
picks.
there still is room for his team to improve, which is scary. Um, also, oh man, this is gonna be tough. Are there any other teams that you want to put in S tier? Because last week we had Wario alone up there.
I think so. Jacob would be the only. Yoshi would be the other one I would be considering personally. I just don't know that I would put him there.
What about Grant? Right now Grant still sits undefeated. He is 3 points behind Colin and has a higher goal difference. Um,
Is Grant triple dry bones?
no, Grant is Bowser Jr.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
he's got like a very standard comp. Um, I want to say it's like it's pretty normal to the meta, and he has a very good captain. He did tie Freddy this week. I'm pretty sure the rest of his schedule is pretty easy, so he's definitely yeah his the rest of his schedule is crazy easy. So I mean he's only one win behind Colin
Yeah.
and hasn't lost a game.
And Colin's about to lose, so
So
sure
I
we can put him up there. I'm good with that.
do we I'm not mad at putting Yoshi up there too. What do you think?
I'm thinking 3 and S seems like we're making a mistake. Like I feel like not there can't be that many S tier characters. There definitely shouldn't be 4. We can't just put everyone in S.
we just do the reverse of last week.
Yeah,
Um okay. So if you go
I
based
think
off
I
oh
think
man,
Yoshi should be top A. Truthfully,
okay. Yoshi should be top A and then I think probably DK goes into A with him.
selfishly, I'm gonna agree with that.
Mhm.
I think he goes above me. I think he did beat me, so he should go above me.
Yeah, he
Um,
also has 2 games in hand on you and is only 2 points back.
yeah,
So
very much so.
Yoshi very
Hmm.
easily could be an S. He just hasn't played enough games.
Yeah,
And he did lose directly to Colin. So
yeah,
I think that's good. I also would argue that these are the only teams in A.
I would agree with that.
I I'm gonna go ahead and do this and then let you give your opinion um on that.
Um, Looking at data really quick, I think I'm okay with that. I'm trying to figure out where I want to put the tying brothers, but I'm thinking C is for them, and I was gonna put you above them. I think I was also gonna put Bowser above them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm okay with you being in B.
Because right now this is not bias talking. This is me just looking at the table. I have 5 games played and I'm on 7 points.
Yeah,
So in theory, I'm a win away from catching you and catching
yeah,
Grant.
yeah,
Do I think I will win a lot? No, but like the fact that my team has a win and also hasn't lost, um,
yeah.
you know, the results just kind of speak a little better. I also don't think my strength of schedule has been good. But anyway, let's let's let me sit right there, and then move on. And you say you want to put all the tying bros in C?
Yeah. I
Yep.
also think we need to address Diddy Kong. I think he's low, and I don't think he should be. Is where I'm going with that.
You think he should be higher?
Yes. Who? Just because I mean he's got to win.
Uh huh. But
Where is he?
he
5 games,
also
4 points. Never mind. I'm fine with him being exactly where he is.
yeah, he also has he doesn't tie
Triple
a
hammer.
lot. He is the
No,
anomaly. He has 2 losses, 1 tie,
and 1 win.
and 1 win. So
He
he
has 3 losses.
3 losses.
Yeah.
Jesus.
No defense, baby.
Yeah, I think he too. I don't think Diddy's that great of a captain, but I think if he just added in like one dry bones, um, that
Yeah.
team could have won much more than they have. But he hasn't. He's stuck with it the entire time. There's zero defense, and they had one good series. Everything else has been terrible.
You gotta respect someone for committing to the bit, though.
Oh, for sure.
My best
Um,
friend Loaf taught me that you gotta commit to the bit, even when you think that the bit shouldn't be committed to it anymore.
what do you think about the Order of the Brothers? I think I would
I think
put
what you're about to do, I would agree with.
Waluigi up front.
Yeah. The big power up is such a stupid power up, and Waluigi's, if he actually uses, really good.
Yeah, and
But
also too, I think right now he's got double dry bones and a hammer bro,
yeah,
which I think not to leak my own strats too much, but I don't think that's if you follow it all that very well could become meta. Let alone if he decides to embrace triple dry bones, that also very well could be meta. So Freddy's in a very good position to basically react accordingly, versus um, Luigi's stuck forever, um,
yeah,
never gonna improve, and I don't think Shell's made a single roster change yet. So I don't think it really matters at all what you do with Mario and Luigi. They will be probably the gatekeeper teams to making top eight.
yeah, yeah,
I think Diddy and Daisy, D stands for Diddy and Daisy. I think those very clearly fit in D. Obviously after the routing, Diddy has to go in front of
yeah.
Daisy. What do you think of spread triple option?
Spread Triple H is such a weird team because they've only got 4 games played.
Right.
-1 goal differential, 3 points. And I think they're all ties.
Mm-hmm.
Um, who do you
He.
lose to?
That's what I'm looking at right now.
Me,
He lost to
right
you.
there.
Um.
That's it. The
Yeah.
rest of them are all ties.
But he tied David, tied Shell, and tied me. So he has not played any of our top four.
Yeah, I think he stays exactly where he is. Um,
Yeah. But I think he's
I
the only one that you could argue.
yeah, I would love to see. I could see him moving up, but at the moment he has to stay where he is.
So very big game, start of week 5, Garrett versus Danny. Um, we saw Adam versus Garrett. Adam launched up the table after winning that, and gave himself a chance at making top 8. Um, if if they tie, I think they both might be stuck. But if
Yeah.
either of them can win, this game is so big in the playoff picture.
Are we segueing into predictions here? Because that was a very nice segue that you set up. And
Um, do you we
then we
still
can come back and do sidekicks.
yeah, that is cool with me. Um, Preds. So real quick, you are kicking my butt in Preds. Um, Not that you are doing great, but I am just doing worse. I went 3 for 8 week 3 and week 4, which I also did in week 2. You went 3 for 8 and 4 for 8. So you are up
Getting
plus.
closer to that
Go ahead.
getting up closer to that 50% mark.
Which
We'll
isn't bad
see.
because there are 3 options. There's
Yeah.
tie and then either win. So you are statistically better than a random spin,
Uh,
which I am too, but very marginally, um, which is sad. Um, okay, so based off standings, I actually feel like this first game right off the bat is our most important game of the week. Um, who are you taking in the Daisy Peach Derby?
you see, every part of me is telling me to take Danny,
Mm-hmm.
but the other part of me is telling me we had 6 ties last week,
Yep.
and these teams are proficient in tying.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go tie, and we'll go Danny +1.
All right. Yeah, I want either of them to win. I
What?
really do. You know what? I'm gonna be fun. I'm gonna go Danny, but I'm also gonna go -2. It's gonna be really close. I'm sorry, Garrett. I don't know if there is hope for you to make playoffs. I really I believe in Danny, and I believe in Danny is trying shit. Danny is tweaking his roster. Danny's trying maps. He's going to places where no one else is going. He's trying to optimize his team on the sand tomb, which I have so much respect for. But Peach just isn't good.
Yeah. I
So
would also state like Garrett has in theory followed meta in my mind,
he has.
or what at least initial meta was.
Yep.
Um, so it's not like he's not trying things. It's just a matter of Daisy's also not good.
Oh, Daisy's way worse than Peach.
Yeah,
Um, I mean, not way worse, but they're both really bad.
yeah,
I would say the thing about Danny that I like is Danny actually has been off meta, which I think he has to with his captain. Like
that's
Danny
fair.
rolled out week one with 3 shooters, which I was like, you know what? If you have Peach, I respect that. And now he's trying to make this sand tomb thing work. So I think for like the teams that have like we have data now, we know which captains are bad, we know which captains are good. I think if your captain is bad, you probably can't put the meta team out there and expect to win because the
Yeah.
other captain's just gonna be better. You're gonna have to try and rely on gimmicks.
Can I did say tie -1, so
Thank you.
I
We
just want
keep
to.
very clear track of
Oh
the
yeah,
goal
yeah, yeah.
difference. um, all right. So next game, Eric versus Danny. Um, I'm going tie for this one. I'll go tie. Is that possible?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. Anything's possible except a win at +1,
yeah.
which
I'm
makes.
a. We don't have to talk about those. um, I'm a say that I want to predict a tie, and I think it's right, and I really want it to be a tie because of what I'm gonna predict. But I think Eric is gonna get some confirmation bias on and stick with the triple shy guy, and I think he's gonna get. I'm gonna do Eric +3.
Damn. Okay, that's gonna be a lot of confirmation bias. That might be enough
Well,
to
my logic is that's just winning one of the games by 2 and one of the games by 1 is
Mm-hmm.
all that is,
True.
and it's not unheard of.
No, certainly not. We have definitely seen larger goal differences. Um, Next series. So I hate to say it, but we are very deep into the dry bones revolution. Um, he has over 100 games played.
Jesus.
Some sidekicks haven't cracked 20. He is top 3 in pretty much every measurable statistic. Um, I see little to no reason for anyone's team at this point to not add dry bones. Like you have no dry bones, add a dry bones. You have one dry bones, add a dry bones. You have 2 dry bones and you're not winning. Probably a good idea to add 3 and just see what happens. So I don't know if you're planning on changing. If I were Freddie, and I was tying everything, I would add in a third dry bones. And I frankly have no idea how this will play out.
I'm continuing to look at my spreadsheet as you're rattling off these stats,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm noting that my plus minus calculator is not correct because first of all, everyone is negative except for Wario, who's at +2, but then everyone else is negative, and Dry Bones is at -60, which I don't think is correct.
That is class.
But
Oh, he is his plus minus is +14,
okay,
and that's with the 106 instances.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Next highest is Birdo with 9, and she's only played 16 games, and like 12 of those are with Colin.
I'm gonna
It's
tell you, you're missing 2 instances of Dry Bones. I've got him at 108, and I'm those numbers. My plus minus, not confident
okay.
in. Games played, I am confident in.
After over 100 times of that little motherfucker running around out there teleporting, I am not surprised that I'm off by 2. Oh my god. Um, so
But
I think this is going to be our first ever Dry Bones Derby. Um, and I am going tie 0. Obviously, you have more intel onto what's actually going to happen, but I like I said, if you are trying to win right now, I see absolutely zero reasons for not adding dry bones this week.
Last week, I'm there are things that I'm happy with. There's things that I'm not happy with, obviously. But I'm concerned about. I am not delusional enough to be like, we're never losing again.
Mm-hmm.
Um, or even we're only winning from now on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I'm gonna go a tie here. I am gonna give myself a goal, but I think Freddie is the king of ties, and I think if anyone's gonna make it to the end of the season with only ties, it's gonna be this should be +1, not -1.
Thank you. I got confused because you are the second person
Ah,
above the thing, so yeah, that checks out. Um, yeah, dude, we'll see. I mean, my thoughts is we are about to, like I said, there are some people in this league who really don't care that much about winning and will play off meta stuff, but I can see a very real world for the people who win, who are willing to sell out for it. Which I'm gonna be honest, I'm picking up dry bones. We could get to a point where the sidekicks are a constant and the only variable is map picks. In terms of the best teams in the league, I don't know
yeah.
though. I don't know. It's a new. You have potentially cracked something in the simulation, which should have been very obvious from week one. But it'll be interesting to see how things play out.
I apologize if I ruined the game here for everyone.
No,
Thankfully, Austin does have a button reset, so
I
we're
have a panic button, and this season, the whole theme of the season, is collecting data.
yeah,
And before the league started, I knew that this format for picking teams and captains was gonna be broken in many different ways. And because I now have more data, I do know how to build an actually effective system. And
yeah,
this isn't it. So you did not ruin the league. You did not do anything. You have just, basically optimized this system. Possibly. We're doing all this off one game, which is really funny.
yeah,
And I think that just shows how good Colin was.
yeah.
That we're like, oh no, the dry bones team just beat Colin. Like it's so over. But they also tied Shell. Um, but anyway, um, next game, Jacob versus Shell. Um, I really want Jacob to catch up to Colin. Um, and Shell, despite having 5 ties, is the only one of the tie brothers to have lost a game. So I think he's gonna lose another. I'm gonna go Jacob +3.
I'm gonna go tie with Jacob +2.
That's a brutal tie.
Yeah,
Um, I think we're gonna see Yoshi step into some new form. He does have the only Monty in the league at this point,
yeah,
which is crazy.
and he's not going anywhere.
No, come on, Mr. Monty. And Monty isn't bad.
No,
It's
I
just
thought Monty was gonna be the best after watching the couple of like teaser games,
mhm. He
but
has a perfectly balanced win percentage, 14 wins, 14 losses. And he is number 4 in goals per game. So, very solid. It's just, everyone is a victim of the dry bones revolution.
yep.
So Grant versus Jacob. I will go a tie for this one. I think this is going to be has a good chance to be series of the week. I think were these the two teams? No, we okay. So this is a big game, in terms of tier list. Jacob has a chance to really prove that he is top caliber, and pull Grant, further into the scrum.
Grant is lemons.
Grant is lemons. He is in second
Okay,
place. He has 10 points. He has not lost a game, but he has tied a
okay.
lot.
I'm. I thought Grant was Adam. If I'm being honest,
Yep.
I'm sorry to Grant and Adam for constantly mixing you guys up. Um, but I thought Jacob was gonna roll the triple hammer bros,
Hmm.
but that's not who he's playing.
Nope.
So, um, I think I'm gonna go tie here as well.
Gotcha.
Um, I'll give Jacob a goal.
What is
Minus
Jacob's
one.
goal difference? Um,
I've
uh,
got
t-
it.
he he's at +5. That's not bad
Yeah,
because Grant does have the best goal difference in the league right now.
yeah.
This next game actually like is so refreshing. Um, based off everything else that we've been talking about, we got triple Hammer Bro versus triple Toad. We got Diddy versus Luigi. What the hell is gonna happen?
Honestly, I think we're gonna see a tie. To go the cliche answer, but
Yeah.
I think that there's gonna be not a lot of items. I think Adam is gonna absolutely blow out David in one game, and then they're gonna go to the classroom and Dave's gonna sneak out a win. So I'm gonna go Adam plus. It's a tie, but Adam's gonna net. This is gonna be ambitious. +4.
Wow, if this hits, that would be insane. Which we never actually loop back to check. Um,
But you'll know.
dude, this is gonna be crazy. I'm actually gonna take a punt here, and I'm gonna say Adam. Um, and that is because the ball is gonna remain ridiculously charged this entire game. All six sidekicks are passing sidekicks. Diddy is a passing captain. Luigi is balanced, so he still isn't passing. I mean, isn't bad at passing. So the ball is going to be insanely charged. And you have three Hammer Bros lurking on the field. And you have three Toads who can't shoot and capitalize on the fact that the ball is fully charged. I think the more likely outcome is that it's a tie. Um, but I think it'd be pretty funny if we see Adam's team just like if Adam's team qualifies to playoffs, just like randomly blowing teams out and then losing every other game. That'd be really funny. And I do think that this
Yeah.
is a good chance for that to happen. Um, next game is me versus David. I think in the past weeks I would have given myself a win here, but I don't know. David just ties everyone, especially teams that seem to be slightly better than him. So I'm going tie, and I'll go just +1 to myself.
I would like to acknowledge the fact that on both of ours we agreed to both do ties because I'm also gonna go tie here, and I'm gonna
Class.
give you two. But I think it is a little funny that like we've got some predictions. Like we're not matching often, but for your team and my team, we both matched almost perfectly.
We've gone very civil. Final game of the week, me versus Colin. I gotta back myself to get a good result. I want to stay undefeated. Suck it, Colin. You are defeated. I'm just gonna go tie 0 and just hope and pray that this actually happens.
Well, you know how I think Colin's gonna do the rest of the season, and it's got to start somewhere. And so I'm gonna give you the win here,
Oh, let's go.
coming off a tie against the tie master. You're gonna turn around and beat Colin. You're gonna get not quite that ambitious. I'll give you 3.
Wow, dude, let's go. Oh my god, dude. You would if we win this game, then we are set for the season. So
Uh,
I appreciate that. You know what? No, I'm not touching that. I can't set myself up like that.
uh,
Um this is actually I feel like we had so many like of our top four teams play in the first couple weeks that I was a little worried that the back end of the season would drag. But I think the really cool thing about kind of like the tiers, like you fight for top four, you fight for top eight, and then like you obviously don't want to be in the bottom four. Like everyone has something to play for.
yeah,
And there's still like you and I think talk and think about this more than pretty much anyone else. And there is a definitive meta, I think, forming, but I do think a lot of people are unaware of that. Um,
Yeah.
so we're still getting some diverse games this far in, which is honestly surprising.
Yeah.
Okay,
Um,
well, speaking of meta, um, time to revisit our sidekick tier list. And I do think that there is some movement to be had here.
I do. I don't think there's any in the first two rows.
Yes, I would agree. Um, I think slowly but surely, like we need to evaluate Hammer Bro as being, you know, such a high goal producer.
Yeah.
Um, this is, partially thanks to you running triple dry bones, but he has actually taken the golden boot now. Um, he leads in goals per game. And if you ignore Adam, his game plus minus is still negative, but it's not bad. So I would argue for him being, in B, if not top of B, especially based off what we saw this past week.
I'd be okay with that. I don't know that I want to put him above Birdo. Birdo's just such a weird one. Birdo has 9 games played so far. Um,
That is really not true.
Interesting. Birdo has 9 goals.
Yep.
Sorry,
Mhm.
16 games played.
Yep. Okay. Good.
Um,
Good. Good.
I went down and scrolled down to Toad at 8 games played. They went, wait, not looking at something right. um, but 16 games played, 9 goals. A goal every other game is not bad. Only zero point 0.1 goals behind Hammer Bro with so much less frequency. I'm
hmm
not gonna. I can't knock her in my mind behind Hammer Bro yet. I will acknowledge that Hammer Bro should be on par with her though.
Yeah.
And
And I really,
Ham-
I really have a gut feeling that we just don't have enough data for Birdo.
yeah,
Because she did not look good for Garrett. I think Garrett was hoping and praying that we have this enigma of the Birdo AI being like goaded. But that's just because she only plays for one team, and up until now they were the best team in the league.
yeah,
So I think that you're right based off everything, based off the data we have. She does belong there. In like the what I call the strikers index, which is win percentage by goals per game. She actually edges out Dry Bones. Um,
interesting.
which is pretty cool. But that's mainly because her win percentage is really high.
Yeah,
But regardless, the fact that she has such a high goals per game and win percentage, which is truly like the best stats that we have. I think that she deserves to still be there, but I think that if everyone added Birdo this upcoming week, she would go down to C.
I I would very quickly imagine that you would be correct.
Mm-hmm.
And if we got enough data on her, I would be very quickly to move her down to C. But
Mm-hmm.
we're not there yet, unfortunately, or fortunately.
Below
Um,
this, it gets kind of interesting. Um,
I've got one suggestion.
what you got?
I want to move Toad up to C.
Okay.
And my reasoning is not because Toad is going to win you games,
Mm-hmm.
but Toad might help you draw.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen it with Dave. We've seen it with a couple other guys who draw. Not, or mostly we've seen it with Dave. But
Mm.
I feel like having a Toad on your team limits the items that the other team gets. He's what, speed and passing?
Yep.
Just a good guy to have on your roster in my mind. Moves the ball, moves himself. Is he gonna score? No. Is he gonna create chances? Yes. Is he gonna play defense? Probably not. But he limits the other team's ability to create, and I think that that's important.
Mm-hmm. I would ask you, I'm totally cool with that. I would ask you what your argument is for moving Toad to C and not Boo.
Um, my argument for leaving Boo down is the fact that Eric ran triple Boo, and I'm so low on Boo after that. It is not a data-driven decision. It is a simply anecdotal evidence-driven decision.
The interesting thing about Boo is, he has only ever used his skill shot twice in 58 games. Um, one of those he got credit for a skill shot assist. We learned that his skill shot has absolutely no effect on the goalie. He basically just takes a normal shot. It's like the shot of like a balanced player. And what happened is he shot it at the goalie. The goalie popped it out, and someone else scored. Um, and so that's not great. Um, but however, he does have more goals per game than Toad does. Um, Boo is at 0.26 and Toad is at 0.18. And those numbers are pretty close. So it's not huge, but considering that Boo has no skill shot that he seems to want to use, and is still scoring at like a pretty decent rate, especially if you were to ignore week 1, I feel like his goals per game would actually be kind of crazy because he didn't score once in week 1, and Eric played a crap ton of games with triple Boo. Um,
Fair.
so I don't really have any justification for putting Toad into C and leaving Boo in D, other than like you said, just vibes. Um, and it frankly doesn't feel very right to me. But the one thing I really like about Toad is he rips his skill shot all the time. Um, it's not great. It's no dry bones. It's his skill shot is objectively worse than everyone who's in the tiers above him, but he does do it a lot. He has the second highest skill shot goal participation, and considering he can't shoot, I like the fact that he does that. So for that reason, I like this. I'm not mad at it, but I think that there's a very good chance that after the next week we either bring Toad back down or bump Boo up just based off numbers.
I'll agree to those terms. Um, I'm not sitting here saying that we've got it in the bag. We've got it absolutely correct and it won't change again. But I'm okay with it being this for a week.
Yeah, and I really don't see, I think we're getting to the point where I think our captains list, I think this list is going to change, week to week, but I think, in terms of our meta study, there could be a point where this reaches stagnation.
Yeah,
We have a singular Koopa in the league. We have one Monty. We have two Birdos. Um, how soon are they gone and just stagnant, and then how
yeah,
much can other people really move the needle?
yeah.
So we'll see, but that's like we talked about, this season is all about data, and I certainly feel much better about this tier list than I did after week 1. I feel way better about this tier list than I did after week 1 and 2. And I do think that we're not doing any better in our predictions. Um, I was about to say I feel a little bit better about our predictive power, but we have not shown that.
I will say the one thing I do like about our predictions for this upcoming week
Mm-hmm.
is between the two of us, we have 11 ties predicted.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I think we have a tie predicted in every single matchup. And frankly, after last week and the week before and the week before, we need more ties in our prediction. If I was gonna set odds, either team to win, if it was a truly even game, would be plus 300 on either side in my mind, and to tie would be like minus 400. Um, but you know, at a certain point, you gotta have some faith that someone's gonna win. But there's been a lot of ties.
Yeah, especially after this past week. I mean, week 3 we actually went 50%
That's true.
in wins, and that was the same in week 1. But week 4 was the week of ties, and there's a great chance that there are more weeks of ties. Um, like I was talking about earlier, though, a lot of our top 4 has played each other and will now
Yeah,
be playing the rest of the league in the final weeks, so that does create more chance for wins.
yep,
But I don't remember the exact statistics that you just gave, but it's a very small shift.
yeah.
But anyway, I think that wraps us up for week 3 and 4 recap. Um, I don't really think I've got anything else to add. Ham, do you have any parting words of wisdom?
Garrett, congratulations on your rise to greatness. Colin, it's been a pleasure watching you at the top, but I'm sorry for what's about to happen.
You just, I'm not convinced that 8 points is actually going to move him up in the table. 8 points might just be last place in the least.
Might be, but it's he. I said he's going on a run.
He's
That
going
was my
on a run.
exact. Those were my
He's,
exact words.
uh-huh.
You added the rise in the table.
Uh-huh.
How many
Okay.
points back is he right now? So he's tied in points with two more games played, and then he's a point behind with one more game played, and then he's 2 points behind with one more game played.
Okay. So he's going on a run.
Yes.
And going on a run means there is a chance he gets more than 8 points.
Yes.
Wow. That
Sorry.
that is inspiring for Garrett that he might go on a run and still be last place. Oh,
Like you also have to understand that even if he were to tie the next 2 weeks and Princess and the Toads played 3 games and tied one of them and lost the other two, he would be tied in points and still probably 10 points, 10 goals back in goal differential.
he's going on a run. But
Like
Loki, if he wins 2 games in the remaining 5 that he has, he will make playoffs. But you know, we'll see. All right. Well, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up there. Peace to anyone that is still listening.
appreciate you.